And here we go.
You are now listening to TBL on silverandblackpride.com. This play used to be run with Henry Ruggs, and we got Darren Waller on the choice route, Hunter Renfrow on the shallow. But I want you guys to watch Tyrann Mathieu here, okay?
Guys, you see the ball is out here. He's breaking on the ball. I think if he got a little closer.
Everybody, we are back. It is Tape Don't Lie. It's your favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. If you like it, hit the like button. If you dislike it, hit the dislike button. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you don't want to leave a comment, go ahead and leave a comment anyways. We don't care. Go ahead and do that as well. You guys already know to do it with us too, but make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me and at BD Williams 18. Right. So we are back, guys. Doing some I just got back from the Senior Bowl, you know what I'm saying? We just, grinded this Patrick Graham and Josh McDaniels offense type of stuff. So we've been on it, guys, just been grinding this stuff out, kind of giving you guys some idea of what's going to be going on here next this season, right? So Cliff Branch, first you want to say congratulations, Cliff Branch made the Hall of Fame.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I just saw that.
Congratulations, Cliff Branch. Long overdue for him to make the Hall of Fame. I always say if Lynn Swann should have made it, Cliff Branch should have made it probably the same year. So Cliff Branch made it, so we're excited about that. Like I said, long time coming, guys. Long time coming. Any thoughts on that, BD, about Cliff Branch making it in?
Yeah, as far as I understand, he revolutionized the game. He helped revolutionize the game. Changed the forward pass being like a series. Like, this is how you move the ball. It's not just like a trick play. It's not like a gimmick. Like, this is legit. He definitely set the game forward. And that's what the Hall of Fame is for people who changed the game, innovated the game, changed how the game is played. There wouldn't be a Randy Moss without Cliff Branch. There wouldn't be Jamar Chase right now without Cliff Branch, right? So, I definitely agree that it's a long time coming. He should have been in, just like Lynn Swann for sure. I agree with you there.
Yeah. I mean, Lynn Swann didn't have as many. I think Lynn Swann has like 300 catches or some stupid crap like that. He has 4 Super Bowls. They just put everybody the Steelers in because he has 4 Super Bowls.
All those Steelers are in. They won like 4 Super Bowls in the 70s or something like that, right?
Yeah, and that's all you really care about. The Super Bowls and how many you won with football. So Cliff Branch, you got in. I guess, do we count Richard Seymour? Does Richard Seymour count as a Raider? This isn't baseball.
Once a Raider. He was a great Raider when he was a Raider. So, yeah, got to count Richard Seymour. I'm sure he'll talk about the Raiders, briefly. Sure. But obviously he's going in as a Patriot. That's what everyone's going to remember him. That's when his prime was, and he won like you're saying, won the championships as a Patriot. But those were Richard Seymour, Tommy Kelly. Those were great defensive lines. Okay, that was when I first started really crunching the tape. Grinding the tape was when I watching those guys. Okay, Tommy Kelly and Richard Seymour. I love Richard Seymour.
Yeah, Richard Seymour, he's a legend. Definitely surprised he made it over to Marcus Ware, but that was interesting. But they had to get Leroy Butler in. He was in a long time. They had to get Leroy in. No wide receivers made it this time too either. No Reggie Waynes. No, that was interesting. Not a single wide receiver. Oh, but I got Cliff. Cliff Branch is a senior candidate though. But there's no kind of the newer guys that are eligible that I know of. So, but we're here to talk about not the Patriots, but the Patriots are coming to Las Vegas, and that's what we're here to talk about today, guys. So we're gonna be going over offense and defense, looking at Josh McDaniels' offense, or what I would say Erhardt Perkins offense. It isn't Josh McDaniels. It is Ray Perkins, and I forgot the other guy's name. Josh just calls the plays. It's not his offense at all. He just learned it. He just calls the plays for it. It's just it's like Bill, anybody calling the West Coast offense, comes from Bill Walsh. But from this one, it's not that many variations as like the West Coast. Like there's Gruden's West Coast. There's the traditional. There's Andy Reid's. There's, whatever Shanahan's doing now, whatever Mike Shanahan did, whatever Holmgren did. There's a whole bunch of West Coast offenses. There's only one Earnhardt Perkins. I mean, it really doesn't variations. The movements are still the same. Everything's kind of the same on any level that you use it on. So Alabama uses it. So you watch Alabama, they're doing Earnhardt Perkins. The Texans have been doing it for years. The Patriots, of course, and then Peyton Manning, Adam Gase, the Jets. So it's not used that much because it's really difficult from a standpoint of like learning everything. Not for wide receivers as much. I think wide receivers is pretty easy. I think wide receivers should pick it up. But quarterbacks.
Let me ask you this about Earnhardt Perkins. I mean, with the Earnhardt Perkins, obviously it doesn't have as big of a tree. So like you're saying, there's not as many variations. I mean, besides Bill O'Brien, you said Adam Gase and then Josh McDaniels. So it's like the three guys that run Earnhardt Perkins in the NFL, right? That's it, other than those guys.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really does Earnhardt Perkins anymore. I mean, except Bill O'Brien. The Texans were doing it over there for a while. So it was Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Sam Darnold, Ryan Tannehill for a little bit. Even Deshaun Watson was running it on Houston. So it's not really that many guys. There's way more West Coast and way more. Everything's West Coast these days. The whole West Coast offense is basically every offense in the NFL, almost every single one that I could think of. They all run the same.
What's the biggest difference then between West Coast and this Earnhardt Perkins?
I think Earnhardt Perkins is a couple of things. Earnhardt Perkins is simpler to learn. So I'm going to go over some of these things too, but a lot of the routes and the route combinations are one word. So like Goose means two routes together on the same side. They have a lot of things like named their basketball teams. Like Cleveland is a 3-man concept, 3x1, and it's a 3-man concept. You hear Cleveland as a wide receiver, and I'm the Z. You already know what to do if you're the playbook. So it makes you play faster too in 2 minutes. So if I'm yelling Cleveland, Goose, this guy side knows how to do Goose, this side knows how to do Cleveland, and then we're good and we could just go. Or I can say a couple of things that I actually got pulled up here. So a couple of like their checks, they call it NASCAR when they do it. They got this named after crazy stuff. Like they got their Bunker, Ohio. It's called Jack Nicklaus because of bunkers in golf. They got their Ozzy Snow, which I think is kind of funny, which is kind of a play on cocaine and Ozzy Osbourne, and they call it Osbourne. That's their check for that. Ozzy Snow. It's kind of funny. And then Dragon Gotti, Godzilla, Yogi Bear is their Yogi, Illinois, called Yogi Bear, so they say. They got their Hot F Jazz. It's summertime. And my favorite one is the D slant, which I think is just the biggest shade in the world, is Drew Brees. So that's slant flat. They call that Drew Brees. Tom Brady came up with that one.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, it's simpler like that. I think simple for quarterbacks, it's not simple. I'll say that. You got to be on the same page with wide receivers. If you're not, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be
something that's interesting that what you were talking about. I really find interesting, just like thinking about football and looking at playbooks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're talking about a one-word concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like they hear that concept, the play is packaged together. You learn a concept, right?
Yeah.
You learn a one-word concept. You know what you're supposed to do, right? So that makes the thinking a little easier, right? For some people, when you compare it to a West Coast play call, and every single person has their, route and their assignment, like it's these huge play calls, right? It's like a sentence-long play call, right? Mm-hmm. And so at that point, you don't have to like think as much, right, as you might in an Earnhardt Perkins. Like what to do. Like the play call literally tells you exactly what to do, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to like, oh, am I the inside guy? Am I the outside? No. Play call is telling you what to do in a West Coast scheme. Whereas this, you have to like know what to do. You have to understand like both positions or all three wide receiver positions. So I do think that while it's easier as a play caller, maybe a little bit easier as a quarterback to get those plays out like you're saying, 2-minute drills, especially at the line of scrimmage. But it does require, like you're saying, more of a mental load for the receivers, even though maybe a little easier on the play calling and all those logistics.
Yeah, it requires a lot of thinking of the receivers because every like route has an adjustment. Which maybe I'll just share the screen. I could just show you guys some of this stuff because I got this playbook up anyways, and I can kind of just show you. Let me just share this. Let me just do this. Make this interactive. All right, you guys see it? So we're gonna go. Let's do this. 294. All right, so you can kind of see some of the things and like some of the adjustments they got. So like, if you got press, you might run a seam instead of the wheel here, right? And you got Hoffa, which is wheel and comeback, right? But it's a locked comeback. But then if it's a different coverage, you might run a juke route, right? And then like every single time you are pressed, you run a wheel or a fade every single time. Doesn't matter unless it's locked, which they call it. Unless it's a lock route, you run a fade. Then you got like I'm gonna go over this play, Goose, right? So you got Goose Snow here. You can see if it's middle of the field open, you go inside. If it's middle of the field closed, you stay outside, right? And you have to know these things because if you don't, then you're gonna be messing everything up, right? Just like some of these, same here, Goose Snow, same thing. So I mean, it's a lot, right? And the option routes, none of them go outside. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff, man. It's just not your average wide receiver type of routes. And it's funny watching Alabama, man. Watching college kids try to do it. I mean, they be messing up all the time. Press because when you have press coverage, some of them is like it's in the playbook. They're pressing you. You run a fade, right? If they're off, you run the actual route. But if they're pressing you, you run a fade. So, you have Bryce Young expecting a fade. He sees press and he's throwing it into the end zone. The guy does a stop, running the original play. That's what it's more about. It's more about being on the same page with your wide receivers, and it's complex. It could be super complex a little bit. So, yeah, but
yeah, great. That's football. You know what I'm saying? The best teams do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's great that it's kind of built into the playbook. I think the other great thing about it is look at Hunter Renfrow. He's got this huge catalog now, crash course in the West Coast offense. Like he mastered it basically. Okay, you saw the strides that he took each year. He just got better and better and better. And now he's going to be able to get with Josh McDaniels and get into this where it's like this is super heavy on you. You have to be on the same page with the quarterback. That's why I think you saw like these great connections that Tom Brady had with various wide receivers throughout the. It's not just everyone says Julian Edelman, but it was like before that. It was Wes Welker, and before that, it was who's the wide receiver that they switched to corner that one year?
Troy Brown.
Troy Brown. Before that, it was Troy Brown. Like Javar Gaffney, like you name it. Like he's had a great connection with these guys, and it comes from you see something as a wide receiver, and your quarterback sees it, and you guys don't even have to look at each other. You're on the same page with where you're going. And that's like the most exciting kind of football to watch. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds for sure.
Yeah, and it's just super detailed. When you go over like West Coast playbooks, it's not as detailed like in routes as I'm sure maybe some are, but like you could tell that they're like you do not mess up this route. You like there's a lot of like don't drift, like in capitals. You know what I mean? Like you can't drift it. Don't cheat. Like sometimes because they have a lot of routes that kind of go up, then they slant in and then they go up and then they dig and they tell you like don't cheat, don't like drift this. You got to make sure that you sell the dig, you sell that go, or it's not going to work. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes, but I think that it's going to be I think it's going to work though because I'm sure that the Raiders ran this before, so. That's the interesting part. So
why don't you just jump into it? Let's do it. Let's go through this right now. I'm going to send it to commercial break, and then we'll come back in 15 seconds.
All right, gotcha.
Hey, fellas, this episode of Tape Don't Lie is brought to you by our favorite producers of grooming tools, Manscaped. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are leaving 2021 with a new product. Clean yourself into the new year with their ultra-premium body wash. Also, special offer alert, use the code TDL for 20% off, plus free shipping at manscaped.com. 4 million men already trust Manscaped. Time to join them.
All right, let's get this going. Oh man, this thing bounces. That's so stupid. All right, we got a little problem here. This thing bounces audio. So you might have to go first, BD, to like get this bounced up.
Okay, are you going to be able to get it up, you think?
Yeah, I'll be able to get it up.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can pivot real quick. That's what we do. Tape Don't Lie. You know, you got to roll with the punches here. Okay,
yeah.
So I'll talk. We'll switch gears right now. We'll talk about Patrick Graham. Comes over from the Giants. Before the Giants, he was the defensive coordinator with the Dolphins, and before that, he was, I think, defensive line coach or linebackers coach with the Patriots. Also under Brian Flores. Josh McDaniels was on that staff at that time, so there's a lot of familiarity there. Josh McDaniels and Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham, you know, the last couple of years, we've been talking about him on this show, Patrick Graham. So, you know, I'm excited, right, to get into it, to dive into Patrick Graham's defense. A lot of people, have you heard this, where they go, they're going to be playing a lot of man. They're going to be playing a lot of man coverage. I don't know what tape they're seeing. That's not the case whatsoever. They play tons of zone coverage. So I don't know why people are saying that. I mean, yeah, they play more man coverage than Gus Bradley ran, but like everyone does in the NFL. Like there's only up from here. Like there's not, you know. So yeah, I mean, any defensive coordinator is going to run more man coverage than Gus Bradley would have, you know. But it's not like this is a man exclusive scheme. Definitely not. He calls tons of zone coverages. We're going to kind of dive into that, and I think that he does an excellent job. At least his defenses show an excellent job, attention to detail in zone. So I think that is an exciting thing. We got some good zone players, you know, like Nate Hobbs. If it was just a man scheme, Nate Hobbs, I don't know, but they run so much zone. Nate Hobbs is going to be fine man in that nickel spot for sure. But really the thing that that impresses me most with Patrick Graham is that the scheme that he does really isn't in the back seven. Like he's not running these like exotic coverages or like coverages that I've never seen before or something like that. Like everything that he's run, like I've seen it in the playbook. It's standard NFL stuff, right? But what the scheme that he does do is in the front seven. The front seven is his baby. Like he throws a lot of looks, a lot of fronts, a lot of blitzes, tons of simulated pressure. So they're going to run normal coverages. It'll be cover 2, cover 3, just straight zone coverages. But they're blitzing someone. They're dropping, you know, a guy who they think the offense thinks is rushing. They're dropping that guy. They do a lot of exotic stuff when it comes to simulated pressures and scheming pressure open. Okay. And that's something that I always was impressed with Patrick Graham. But like, hold on. If you go through his roster, he never had a dominant edge rusher. I watched tons of games so far. Patrick Graham, edge rushers did not make an impact in any of these games, okay, that he's been in. So when you get into odd front and you have, you know, you have three defensive linemen, but now the offense doesn't know where that fourth rusher is coming from. Why do you do that? You do that because you can't generate like pressure just straight up. You have to scheme the pressure, right? And I think that now that he has Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue even, I think that the need to scheme pressure is greatly diminished, and I don't anticipate seeing nearly as much of these like odd front, mint front, tight front, college looks, you know, simulated pressures, and just like non-traditional rushers coming after the quarterback. I don't think we're going to see as much of that because simply just because Max Crosby, you don't have to like scheme this guy to get pressure, right? He just generates pressure by himself. So I think that there's been a lot of talk about, Patrick Graham, it's a 3-4, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that he ran that scheme out of necessity. He did not have many, I would say, starting caliber NFL players in his front seven, and he had to make it work. He had no starting caliber edge rusher, right? Had to make it work. and he made it work. So it is impressive. I think he's got more talent to work with here, at least in the front seven at the Raiders. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and we'll go through this. We'll go through this Patrick Graham defense. All right, so first things first, we're going to go through a drive. This is one drive against the Chargers, okay? They come out in a nickel package, okay? And look, we got a 4-man defensive line here. This is normal stuff, right? We're not worried about where Max Crosby's going to play here, okay? Nickel 4-man line is what every single NFL team runs, okay? Max Crosby is not going to be out of place in this scheme. Don't worry, okay? So they're a nickel, and they're playing in their automatic heat check. Gotta love this. It looks like it's too high safety, okay? But what's happening over here is they're actually playing a coverage called 3 cloud. So they're playing cover 3, okay? But now they're hanging this safety over the corner who's playing like a squat technique if he's playing a cover 2. And then you see you got guys on the hashes, guys on the numbers, okay? So this is cover 3. This is what cover 3 looks like, but they're doing it hanging a safety over the corner who's squatting. Gotta love that look, okay? I'd say not a great job by this corner. Usually he's fantastic. You're going to see him make a great play right there. So first down on 1st and 10. Okay, so they gave him first down. As far as the rush goes, you're going to see, like, look at these guys. This is a 300-pound defensive end here. Come on. Like, what are we doing right now? This guy had no actual edge rushers. And he's their best player. Don't get me wrong. Leonard Williams, he's their best player. They literally had to rush him at end at 300 pounds because they had no edge rushers. That's how bad his defense was. They were playing a defensive tackle at the end. So the talent level wasn't great. He still made it work. Okay, so let's look at this one here. So they just converted first down. They're still in nickel, but they're going to run Tampa 2 now. So they are showing too high, but they're going to stay in an actual too high look. Okay, and I just love how when you pause a frame, when you freeze a frame, and you get all these guys in their exact space that they're supposed to be. Look, right outside the hash, right in the middle of the field, top of the numbers, right? Like, it's literally, this is what cover 2 is supposed to look like. Perfect zone drops, and then you see 24 right here. Go ahead, redeem himself for giving up that pass earlier. Get underneath that. Great zone eyes. So we got 2 zone plays back to back, right? If we look at the front here again, we got a 300-pound, 310-pound defensive end. I just think that's so funny. He's the best player.
He almost got there though, man.
For sure. I mean, he's their best player. Imagine if they had a real end. Okay, this is like a top 10 defense. So now I think he's anticipating a run again. They like to disguise. They like to show too high. Every snap, basically, they're going to show too high. And then the safety is going to come down in the box at the last second. They're going to get 8 in the box against a run. They're playing cover 1 lurk. This is a standard run defense call. Okay. Again, now this time we actually have defensive tackles playing defensive tackle. Okay. Again, 4-man line. We know Max Crosby is going to play here. Ngakoue is going to play right here, right? Quentin Jefferson is going to play, like, we know where these guys are going to play. This is not like that dramatic of a scheme change. Okay. And then we also see here Leonard Williams just be an absolute beast. I mean, this is turning into a Leonard Williams highlight here. Okay. But I think, but this is one of my favorite, one of my favorite reps. Okay. From Patrick Graham, because it really shows the attention to detail of his defense. Okay, they get into a dime package. This is the dime right here, and they're going to play a cover 4, and they're going to play what's called like a tough technique in the back, where they're basically going to hit this guy and then this guy's going to sink underneath him, and while they're playing cover 4 across the top. Okay, and then we have a curl flat player and then a hook curl player right here. All right. So that's what this cover 4 coverage is called. And just look at this again. We got guys on the numbers, Their landmark in cover 4, 2 yards outside the hash, 2 yards outside the hash. Everyone is in exactly the right landmark. It goes to show they got buy-in. Okay, their coaches are coaching them, and they're listening to their coaches. This is not by mistake that everyone happens to be in the exact same spot, right? It can't happen by mistake. You get that check down to the backside. Should have been a little earlier tackle here, but they stop them. They gave up that first play, but they stopped Chargers. Okay. And then on this side, we're gonna, we're sugaring these gaps. Maybe we're blitzing, make these guys think that we're blitzing here, and we're just gonna get a little TE stunt here. Pretty standard. Again, this is standard NFL stuff. Are we seeing anything crazy? Anything dramatic? You know what I'm saying? It's just good sound football that we're seeing. Okay. So now I'm just gonna get into this odd front. We talked about the odd front. It's something that Patrick Graham is going to get into on first downs to stop the run. Okay, we see here we got 2 tight ends. They come out in 12 personnel, so he matches that with base personnel. When Patrick Graham's in base personnel, he likes to get into an odd front. Now, here's the cool thing about this. Okay, Gus Bradley, guess what? He ran a 4-3 under. This is the exact same alignment. Okay, we got a 5, we got a 3, we got a 1. Okay, we got a 5, and then we got a 9. This is a 4-3 under. The exact same kind of look that Gus Bradley ran. So if it worked for Gus Bradley, okay, that means that it'll work for the Raiders. The Raiders don't have to make some dramatic scheme change like everyone's thinking. And the reason why everyone thinks that this is a scheme change is because this is a linebacker and technically listed on the roster, and this is a linebacker on the roster. Okay, but their linebackers, I mean, if he has no Max Crosby, let's just put it like that. Okay. So that's why people think, oh, it's going to be a scheme change. And it's not going to be a scheme change. These guys are going to play. They're in these odd fronts. And the thing about these odd fronts is these linebackers are really going to come downhill. They're going to trigger hard, and they want to get on the line of scrimmage as fast as they can, and they want to build a wall on this line of scrimmage. Okay, it's a dramatically different approach to stopping the run than Gus Bradley employed. And Gus Bradley was able to do that because he had 8 men in the box constantly because he's in cover 3. And cover 2 coverages, when you get into these 2 high coverages, you don't have 8 men in the box. You can't, so you have to play the run a little differently. Okay, so the run is going to be played a lot differently because the reliance on 2 high safeties. I wanted to show you this, guys, too, because this is the same look, right? We got a 3 technique, okay? We got a 5 technique, got another 5 technique here, okay? But this guy out here is actually as a safety, technically. He's on the roster as a safety. So they'll get into this odd front look where they get into this 3-4 look, but they'll get into nickel and they'll drop this safety down on the towards the line of scrimmage right here. And so they can still play their base look when they're in nickel when they want to stop the run, if that makes sense. So regardless, if this is a DB, then this will be Max Crosby. It's really not that big a deal. We don't have to think too hard about it, okay? If he plays all the way on the edge sometimes, if he plays maybe over the tackle sometimes in the odd front look, guess what? He's going to do both because that's what Patrick Graham does. Okay, again, you see these linebackers, they want to make a wall. They're attacking, they're coming downhill, they're not waiting. Sometimes didn't work for him. Okay. Now we're going to talk about this this team. Patrick Graham he's a 2-high coordinator. He wants to be in 2-high. He wants to have his safeties back here. Okay. And he's going to play tons of cover 2. Okay. So this ends up being a Tampa 2 look. Okay. It started off as a 3-high safety look going up against Patrick Mahomes, showing him pre-snap, 3 high safeties. Safety drops down. All of a sudden, it's cover 2. Okay, and we know sometimes when Patrick Mahomes sees 3 high safeties, he makes an ill-advised throw. Okay, but this is what Patrick Graham does. Patrick Graham loves to be in cover 2. Okay, he's going to be in 2 high safeties. He's going to be in cover 4. He'll be in cover 6. He'll be in cover 2. Lots of cover 2. It's a great Tampa 2 drop right here from 48. Tate Crowder. I mean, if you guys want to go back through the film, this is going to be the position that Devon Diablo plays. And I'm really excited. He's going to be featured. He's going to be able to be featured in coverage. You see him here. He's the pole runner in Tampa 2. What a great adjustment right there from 48. Big on Tyreek, just hit Tyreek Hill's ass there. Now, again, too high, right? We're in too high. This time we're playing cover 6, or we're playing quarters to one side. We're playing half to the other side, okay? But still, too high. Love to be in too high. Another linebacker makes a great play. Okay, this time it's the Mike linebacker. Makes a great play in coverage. And this is Reggie Ragland. He's never been known to be a great guy in coverage, okay? So this defense is getting it out of him. All right, and I mean, this is another too high look. And when you have guys, when they're 2 yards outside the hash, 2 yards outside the hash, where are we? Numbers. These guys' spacing is so good. It's so detailed. And when you do that, sometimes you're going to force a tight window throw, and guys are going to be in an opportune place to take advantage. Okay, so that's why they like playing too high. Patrick Graham has a lot of success with it. I think that is really exciting. Now, here's the problem, though. For every good thing that you have, there's going to be a negative thing, and right? And in this case, we like to be in too high. We like to get our safeties up out of there. Well, guess what happens when you have too high safeties? Okay, you have too high safeties, and they decide to run the ball right at you against a light box, right? Okay, there's a lot less room for error when you're not keeping that 8th man in the box. So let's talk about why. Look at the safety. He's getting out of there right now. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defenders, and we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 linemen. So that means everyone has to win. There cannot be a loss here, right? There's no room for error. Okay, one guy misses, one guy loses, he doesn't get into his gap. We got a problem here. But if we had this safety in the box, now we have a +1, and there's less room for error. Okay, so in this case, safety's not in the box. All it takes is 48 to just go back door here, okay, and get caught up in the middle right there. And now we have a big chunk gain when they're in cover 2. And this happens a lot, unfortunately, when I'm watching. I'm just being real with Raider Nation. This happens a lot. He wants a light box, okay, this time trying to stop the run with 6 defenders. He wants a light box. He wants to show different things to quarterbacks. He wants to stop the run, okay, but you see sometimes it's going to bite you in the butt, okay, when you are over-relying on the type of run fits where everyone has to be perfect, everyone has to build that wall and take their man on. As soon as one of these links in the chain breaks, okay, it's curtains for the defense. And we got a big chunk gain. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that's something that Patrick Graham can kind of shore up. It's something that I noticed a lot. I saw a lot of too high looks, and I saw a lot of times quarterbacks simply just checking to run and getting like a 6-yard gain on first down. And that's a problem, right? So you got to be able to stop the run. One thing I will throw out there, because I've been thinking about Patrick Graham a lot, so I have like tons of things to say, but with how much cover 2 they run, right? That means safeties are going to be down in the box. You get a cut split, corners are going to be down in the box. They're going to be down on the line of scrimmage. You get a reduced split. Corners got to play that run, right? With how much cover 2 they run, maybe Nate Hobbs gets a shake at corner in this scheme because corners have to really tackle in this scheme. Mm-hmm. And then also James Bradbury, it sounds like Giants don't have a cap room for him. You saw him make that pass breakup. He's got fantastic film. If Raider Nation, if you thought Casey Hayward was good, okay, this guy, James Bradbury, is legit. He's one of the best corners in football. So if he could come over, because Giants can't, handle his cap hit or whatever, if he could come over, that would be a huge boon for the defense.
Yeah, just got a couple questions I see in the chat. How does Abram fit in the scheme, BD?
Yeah, I was a little discouraged at first because I saw how much cover 2 they played, too high they played. But he has a really fascinating approach to figuring out how to get everyone on the field. And you'll see him, like that guy, Jabril Peppers, he's a former first-round draft pick, kind of like Jonathan Abram, right? Mm-hmm. But he's exclusively a second-level player in Patrick Graham's scheme, or he was exclusively. So he would play nickel, they would play big nickel, and they would just put a safety out there over the slot instead of like the actual corner, okay? They would rush him off the edge. He would play dime linebacker for them, but he was like exclusively on the second level. And if I'm willing to bet, it would be that's how Jonathan Abram is going to be used in this defense. But at the same time, it also means you need another actual safety. So
Devin McCourty.
And so here's the thing: like a lot of teams have 3 safeties that they use right now, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the Chiefs. They got Tyrann Mathieu. They got Juan Thornhill. They got Daniel Sorensen. We got our Juan Thornhill with Trevon Merritt, right? Yeah. Hopefully that's as good as he becomes. We have our Daniel Sorensen. I'm throwing major shade at Jonathan Abram. That's what his role is. He's a linebacker type. So that's his role in this defense. He can be an impact player as a role player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Giants played a ton of too high in 2022. I mean, that's what they did to Russell Wilson. I mean, it basically exposed Russell Wilson by playing some ignorant cover two, basically saying throw to the middle, and he was like, no, and he's at the worst game. So they didn't even play it too high for a long time. But that is interesting. You talk about Abram playing that role because I'm a huge Jalen Petre fan. I've been telling you about Jalen Petre for since the Senior Bowl or before it. And I mean, that's what Jalen Petre did at Baylor is what Julius Peppers did at Giant. I mean, it's on tape to see him play those things. So, I mean, it's interesting to see how they go with that type of player. But I do think they're going to find another safety. I think they're going to find one in free agency.
They have to. It's necessary. They don't have their other guy back there because of how much too high looks that they play. Jonathan Abram would be miscast there. Roger Teamer, no, they're getting a safety. It's necessary. They're probably going to get 2 safeties, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, so important. And this is what I'm saying. The safety class in free agency is pretty good because you can get Anthony Harris, I think, for cheap, or even Devin McCourty, and they could be the other guy that plays with Morag, right? And they play too high over there, and Anthony Harris is the too high monster. That's how he, made his living playing in that Gunther cover 4, cover 6 scheme. So yeah, you know how that works. But there's some cheap safeties, and there's the main guy who's Devin McCourty who could come in and play pretty well. I know he's 35, but he had 4 interceptions last year, I think, at 35. So he hasn't really lost a step.
So it was really funny because I watched Logan Ryan in this defense.
Yeah.
And I was under the impression that Logan Ryan was good. And it was like really embarrassing watching Logan Ryan this last year. Like that was bad tape, straight up. Yeah. He was a huge liability for them.
Well, see, because he was good in 2020 and he wasn't good this year.
He was good. He was good in 2020 and he was not good this year.
Yeah. One last question for you, BD.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
What? Because we got. I'm gonna talk about Gillespie. I'm like, Gillespie. He didn't play this year, so it's weird. You always wonder why he didn't play at all. And then last question before we maybe get to offense. Does Graham defense value DT like Jordan Davis?
What is Jordan Davis' size? How tall?
I don't know how tall he is, but he's like 6'8", 340 or something like that.
6'8", 340? Oh, come on. What are we talking about right now?
He's something crazy. His tape is hilarious. He looks
like a... Yeah, what I will say, Graham values like big players. Like as big as the prototype gets for a player, that's what he wants. So he wants like his Mike linebacker to be 6'3", 250 pounds. Like he doesn't like the way that I was talking about the downhill filling. I think that honestly the biggest question mark for me is if Denzel Perryman has a spot on this defense next year. Like I don't know if a 5'11", 230-pound linebacker is going to be able to like get through a season. Like I'm not discrediting Denzel Perryman. I'm just saying like the guys who are playing Mike for him were all like 250, 260 pounds. Like they were like basically defensive insides. They were like 6'3", 250. Like that's who we had playing Mike. So I don't know, Denzel Perryman, he's kind of undersized, but I mean, for most schemes, for a cover 3 scheme where you had 8 in the box, where you got penetration, and he sat back and he waited, right? And he was like patient, and he played that like sit back, wait, and then go. That's different than this downhill kind of run fit. And I'm concerned that Denzel Perryman might not have a spot. So we'll see.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, when you mentioned that 250, there's one guy in the draft that fits that. It was the Senior Bowl. His name's Darian Beavers from Cincinnati. He's 6'3".
I was watching Darian Beavers all last year because I went crazy on Cincinnati. I texted our guys. What's the draft profile that we did, the draft scouting thing, whatever. I texted him. I was like, "Is Darian Beavers is not on your guys' list, right?" And then one of the guys was like, PFF has a low grade on him. I was like, PFF, come on, this guy's like huge and he plays linebacker. Like he's an NFL player, he's legit. And now everyone's talking about him at the Senior Bowl. So I discovered Darian. No, I'm just kidding. But, but yeah, I'm big on Darian Beavers. He's the prototype because he can rush, he can cover a little bit, right? He can play the run. Like that's what Graham wants. He wants a big, like a Jamie Collins, like a Dante Hightower, like a guy who, wait, is he a defensive end or is he a linebacker out there? Like that's what he wants.
Hightower's a free agent too. Just saying that. I was just putting that out there. Dante Hightower is a free agent. He is one. All right, guys. Let's get into this offense that I messed up the first time by bouncing it as an audio. So here's some silence with that. So let's get into this offense. Let's do it. All right, so I'll kind of show what I'm gonna do today a little bit, kind of go over what we're talking about here. So today, I'm gonna be basically showing kind of what we're doing with Hunter Renfrow a little bit, right? So we do a lot of slot stuff, kind of show. I wrote an article about it a little bit, but a lot of people didn't read the article because I said he's gonna be unleashed. They didn't like that. Because I thought it meant like 2,000 yards or something. I'm just, no, he's going to get, he's probably going to go from 1,000 to 1,200. That's all I'm saying. So I'm going to go over that. I'm also going to go over how the importance of maybe getting a guy who can win outside for this offense. I think it opens it up to a different level. I'm not necessarily sure they actually need one for sure, but I think it takes it to the next level. And then, of course, I'm going to show some Bill Musgrave and Derek Carr running this Earnhardt Perkins before back in the day. So we're going to go over that. Let's do that. Let's do it. All right, guys. So first play we got here, Patriots call this Ozzy. Okay. We talked about this a little earlier. Ozzy Osbourne is a check. So Ozzy's pretty simple. It's we got the out right here, and we got the comeback on this one. So basically kind of like a 2-level concept for whoever the quarterback is. Yeah, this is 2017 Patriots right here. So it's Tom Brady, Danny Amendola, all those big boys, right? So Ozzy's pretty simple, but this is one you're going to see a lot, right? This is one that you're going to see in 2-minute drills, all that stuff. They'll be screaming Ozzy Osbourne, or maybe they change it up. I don't know. But you see, just quick, Tom Brady's able to read it outside. Boom. One thing I want to show too, there's always a check down, okay? There's rarely where like the running back just stays in and blocks the whole time. Usually blocks and then hits the check down. There's always a check down somewhere. So if this guy wasn't open, Tom Brady could go here. There's a check down over here. He can go. There's a completion everywhere, every single time. So, there's always somewhere you can go in this offense, but hit there. There's Hunter Renfrow. Can you imagine that's him? That's Chris Hogan, but same look, same type of play. All right. You see it from the backside. Just see Tom Brady's excellent footwork here. Look at that. Boom. Look at base. Just crazy. Damn, Tom. All right. And then here's another one. It's called Goose Dagger. Okay. So Goose is up here. So I'm going to let you're going to see this a lot as a Raiders fan with Josh McDaniels. You're going to see a lot of these, what they call the goose route, which is a seam, right? And then if it's middle of the field closed, which is a single high, right? He's going to keep going straight down the seam. Now, if it's too high, right, then he's going to go inside. All right. So if it's too high, he goes inside. If he keeps going this way, he's probably just getting picked off because Derek Carr is going to be mad because he went the wrong way. So here, right, and this is a straight seam. And then, of course, this one, we got dagger, which is a little different. I guess they call it dagger because it still looks like dagger, but it's not. But it's an out route and a go. But they call it dagger, kind of, I guess, to confuse people a little bit here. But this is a key one because they run this goose concept a lot. It's gonna be Darren Waller, it's gonna be Hunter Renfrow, it's gonna be whoever. So let's watch this real quick. Quick dagger right here. Hit the out route. See the anticipation by Bray right there, to Gronk. Right. So and one thing about this too is that the quarterback usually picks the matchup. I mean, this is more on the quarterback, right? So, I mean, he's got man, right? He knows he's got man. So he's going to pick the best matchup that he wants. He knows he's got Gronk one-on-one on Eric Berry. I'm going to Gronk. Boom. I still think Brandon Cooks ran the wrong route because he read that wrong. But it's fine. It's fine, Brandon. You're right. But yeah, that's the thing on this one. Like the matchup is important because it was funny. I had to watch Jimmy G run this, and it was pretty hilarious. Because he always picked the wrong matchup. So picking the right matchup is important too here because it saves a lot of time for the quarterback, allows him to get the ball out quick. All right. So now we got Ozzy Nod. Okay. So this was the same thing. This is what I was talking about, Hunter Renfrow having some big yards, right? Because we got the same look. Ozzy, right? Comeback. Outright. But we're going to stick it. Boom. Up the field. This is going to be easy touchdown for Tom Brady. Right here, boom. Hit the nod. You see it. You see the safety. He's going this way, right? Middle of the field's wide open. Boom. Right there.
Hunter Renfrow is going to have 600 yards on the nod route this year. Guaranteed.
I guarantee it. All right. This is another cool one. This one's called Book. All right. So this one it is basically a combination. So you got a motion, right? And then an out route. But Brandon Cooks right here, who is the X receiver, or you say the Z, I would say they would say the Z for this one. What he's going to do is he has a two-way go on this one. So if this is corner right here and there's no safety here and he has outside leverage, he goes in. If they play inside leverage, say this corner comes in, right? Or comes over the top where he has to go out, he's going out. All right. So that's what I'm talking about. It gets a little difficult for wide receivers. I mean, these guys, they got to be able to read what's going on in front of them, like they're quarterbacks, right? It's like they're playing quarterback too. So here we go. Here's Book right here. You see, he's got a little bit of outside leverage. He's able to get outside. He's got the in. They're kind of double teaming him, playing some brackets a little bit there, a little quarters right there, right? And you see Tom Brady, he has a 2-level go here, right? He's got the out right here. He probably has Brandon Cooks too, based on the leverage of the corner. He has them, both of them, but he just goes right underneath to Amendola. I mean, he might have been throwing that to Cooks. I don't know. Just throw that. But still a completion right there. Got him in the red zone right late in the game. All right, so this is a cool one, right? Let's call this one. We got Goose over here, of course. Goose, weak side Goose. We got strong side. We got Jinx. So this is Jinx on this one. Now with Jinx is a dig and it is a whip route, but the whip route has an option. So if let's say this linebacker backs up to take this dig, he has tons of room to move forward this way, to just keep running. He doesn't do the whip route, right? He just goes forward and it becomes a straight up drag. All right. So like I'm talking about, this is all about reading, but this is something that Hunter Renfrow does well anyways from the slot. He's always read the field well. And then you got the dig to kind of give you a 2-level concept, high-low concept there. So we watch this, right? So you watch it, instead of coming back, because, this where this slot corner is playing, he's not letting him come back on this juke. He's probably prepared for it too, right? Just keeps going forward. First down. Right? I'll tell you, there's like an answer for everything in this offense. That's why Tom Brady and Peyton Manning just killing everybody. I figured that out when I was watching this. Like, oh, that's how Peyton Manning killed people. Everybody was this. Because, I mean, right? Because usually, like, let's say it's the West Coast, right? West Coast offense. The way they're playing this, I mean, what does Hunter Renfrow do? He has to go back outside. And then Carr has to go to the dig. He has no choice because it's more mechanical. It's it's not as mechanical as other offenses. It's more on the go. So Damian Dola, he sees it, he just goes forward. Boom. Look at that. First down. All right. And then we kind of got the same concept here, except they call this one Saturn. So we're going to get a quick post here from Chris Hogan, which, I'll talk about in the back end, the importance of 2 slot receivers. But we got Chris Hogan. He's running the skinny, is what they call it in Patriots terms, skinny post, right? And then you got the whip and the whip route, but just in case, you keep going forward. Now, this one's interesting for me because, I feel like Danny Amendola could have kept going forward on this one. So let's run here. Right? I mean, he probably could have kept going forward, but maybe he saw this. I don't know. Maybe he sees this opening and wants Chris Hogan to do that. Maybe that's not part of that check at that time. I'm not 100% sure there. But you see there's 2-level concept right there, right? The juke's taken away. I hit the dig or I hit the post or whatever you want to, whatever switch up they have on this, right? Because, what I'm saying? This is the same look, but different routes, right? But it is the same route on one of the routes, but the other one is different, right? So it's always a switch up, right? Same route, same look, but now we got the skinny post, right? Nice catch by Chris Hogan there. Then we got Ram, right? Because usually with these choice routes, this kind of concept, it usually is a choice route with the West Coast, but this one's a defined angle Texas route. If it's 3x1 and you see a dig with it, they call it Texas. That's the play of it. They call it Texas, but this one's called Ram. So they call this one Ram here. Typical angle with a kind of a skinny post on top of it. All right. So like I said, this is I'll tell you, Hunter Renfrow's going to have a lot of targets in this offense. So is the running backs, right? So they have to find a running back that can make these plays, right? Boom. I mean, they're both open. He has a choice. Who's he want to go to? Who you want to throw to? Right? Throw that down. It's just a choice every single time for whoever the quarterback is, right? Boom. Quick eyes, sees the blitz, understands where to go. Boom. Of course, he's been running it 20 years, so it makes sense. All right, and then I do want to talk about the importance of an outside receiver. So, when you watch this offense in 2017 compared to watching Mac Jones or even watching like 2019, 2018 Patriots, the difference is Brandon Cooks. Okay. Brandon Cooks made a huge difference for Brady, right? He won MVP because of it, basically. So, I mean, you got these kind of 9-8-9 concepts. They call it Goose, and then you got the go from the outside. But, just see how this opens up this offense, right? This made to be, it's designed to have short passing. Everybody's like, oh, my God, everybody's short passing, right? But when you have these, everybody's sucking up, you get man-to-man outside. They're trying to play these running backs. You get Brandon Cooks over the top, which is dimes, which is just great throws. You can tell they had the timing that these two had, man. It's crazy, right? And that's important of this offense, too, is timing. And getting rid of the football. Right there. See Tom, look. Tom knew where he's going with this ball the whole time. And Brandon Cooks wide open, making that catch. And the same look here, in the low red zone. They like to do the same play. They like to do Goose in the low red zone too. So you're going to see Goose once again. And it's just a crazy throw, Tom Brady. But I'm talking about somebody outside that can make these plays, unlocks this offense. So I think it's this importance of finding somebody that can do that. But if they can't, I still think they'll be okay, but it won't be as explosive as they can be, right? It'd be the typical Patriots offense where it's like, you're moving down the field, but there's not this huge explosive plays like they had in 2017 because Brandon Cooks really did unlock this offense in every way possible. But, and even in 2020, so it's Nelson Aguilar right here, right? And this is talking about the importance of somebody getting open. And we got the V route. They call us the V route. And, of course, we got Goose at the bottom again. They're running Goose. I tell you, it's one of their favorite concepts, right? So, but you got the V route on the outside. Got man-to-man. It's a great route by Nelson Aguilar. Boom. Nice little arm over. He's wide open. Boom. So, the importance of having somebody outside really is going to unlock this offense I talk about Brandon Cooks a lot. I mean, he's probably going to be available. He's a $9 million. They cut him. He's $9 million savings. They might cut him too. So, Bradbury might be available. So might Brandon Cooks. And I think Brandon Cooks, especially knowing this offense, he could really help. It's a great, Mac's under pressure, but great read there. Mac played pretty well, man. I was pretty impressed. Pretty impressive. All right. And then, of course, just talk about winning outside altogether. Like I said, we get the out route. We got the OPEC right here, which is the choice route. Choice routes never go inside. I'll let you guys know that. They never go inside. They're always out or they're hitches. Never go inside. But then you see Chris Hogan right here is able to get open outside, right? Give Tom Brady 2 levels. First down. So the importance of having somebody outside will definitely unlock this offense. And I think they gotta find somebody. And it doesn't even have to be some super explosive guy like some Devontae Adams. It just has to be somebody who can get open. That's all. That's really all it is. But, let's talk about the Raiders running this with Bill Musgrave. I know this is like something, a lot of people didn't talk about. And that's why I think Mark Davis is a little bit of a genius. Because I didn't know this. I don't know if you knew this, BD. I didn't know this is Earnhardt Perkins.
I did not know that. Everybody
thought it was the West Coast. But I Googled Earnhardt Perkins and Bill Musgrave popped up in my senses. I was like, oh my God. Are you serious? All right, because this is Patriots concept. This is the option. I thought this is in the Patriots playbook that I showed earlier. This is in it. Same exact play. Z option, right? And I showed this depth. I know I kind of messed up these angles, but I showed this depth because Amari Cooper's supposed to get 20 yards and he gets 10. So he kind of messed it up. So there's a lot of this stuff the Raiders are doing. It's kind of funny. So he's supposed to get to here, right? And go behind. See this gap where this gap is? Because if he gets to here and he gets behind Andre Holmes, he's wide open even more with room to run with the coverage that they're playing, right? But he kind of sorts that up, and then Derek Carr goes to Jalen Richard, which is a better concept right there. But that's the option. That's in their playbook. You know what I mean? You want to retire from the backside. We see Derek Carr we used to have terrible mechanics and lifting his foot up for no reason. All right. I just want to point that out.
Nice pull.
All right. And then Indigo. This is in the Patriots playbook too. Indigo. It's a little dagger concept type of thing, right? Get that 20-yard depth. This, Mike Crabtree gets the right depth. Probably why he got the ball more back in the day. He gets the right 20-yard depth right there. Going right behind Michael Crabtree. Derek Carr decides to hit that go route to Amari Cooper. So, I think the transition for Derek Carr is not going to be as bad as we think it is. It's going to be pretty easy for him to pick it up. It's going to be a lot more for the wide receivers to pick it up. I think, Darren Waller, I think once he picks it up, I don't know what he's going to be like, man. It's going to be those just here. I've been thinking about him running up the seam for like a couple of days at that 4-4 and that goose and deciding which way I want to go. Do I want to go this way? Just like who's guarding him? What safety is guarding him one-on-one, or what nickel corner is guarding him from the slot on a seam route like that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't hear you, B. You're on mute. You're on mute,
dog. You know what I say about tight ends. You just got to hit him out of the game. Don't even worry about covering him. Okay? Let him catch that and just blast him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But he's only supposed to go inside against too high, man. He's only supposed to go inside against too high. So, too high. He's only supposed to go inside against too high. So, but I've been mad because Gronk, if you want to go watch the 2017 Steelers game, they ran that play over and over again with Gronk. And he had like 150 yards or something in that game. He was just killing them down the seam. And, that's something that, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller are going to be able to do. I'm really excited about how, that offense is looking with those two inside. Okay, with those two inside, but I do think they got to add somebody outside that at least can win consistently. It doesn't have to be some superstar. It doesn't have to be a superstar. If they add a superstar, that's awesome, right? If they add, Brandon Cooks, that works because he's be able to run this route. He understands the system. He's not going to make the wrong checks. He never made the wrong checks when I watched him on tape. It's got to be somebody like that can get open and make things work on the outside, and then is smart. Because, you're going to need somebody outside, too, that can win. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a super, super duper star. All right. But it just has to be somebody that can win. I mean, that's why they got Nelson Aguilar out there or Kittrick Bourne. They're not superstars, but they can win outside. And but that will help them. One more thing I will say too, before I don't know if you got anything to say, BD, but they need another slot receiver too, which is going to be interesting. They're going to need to let somebody that can play in the slot, that can do what like Chris Hogan did, right? Which is kind of maybe play in the slot, maybe play outside sometimes, do those type of things, because they're going to need somebody like that. Because I mean, the way the system is set up, they do so many 2x2 sets, right? That they have to have somebody out in the inside that could make it happen. You know what I mean? So, that's why I'm eyeing John Mechie, just in case he falls to that round as somebody that I'm looking at. But even I see Russell Gage. I mean, somebody like that is able to do some slot things inside and get open for them, right?
Yeah, I was going to throw you this one. This person said that Mechie would be suited for this offense, played under Bill O'Brien at Bama. You mentioned that you by yourself there. Are there any other draft wide receivers? You mentioned free agents. Young players in this offense. That's tough. Mm-hmm. So are there any receivers you're looking at?
I mean, I'm looking at John Mechie. John Mechie is probably my main one. That I would say would be the quick fit. And Christian Watson, I mean, he had the awesome Senior Bowl. So, I mean, of course, I'm looking at him. I'm hoping they look at him. He's 6'4", 211. He came from a good system. And I think that's somebody that could fit this offense and help them a lot. And he could be the guy outside, I think. I mean, I don't know if he'd be smart enough to run this offense. Because that's the hard thing for bringing in a rookie, man, is just how is he going to make these checks? Is he going to make these checks correctly? How is he going to pick it up? Is he going to run a go route? Is he not going to run a go route when he should? And then Derek Carr's throwing a pick to a safety and they're all mad. It's those type of players when you're drafting. You have to find a guy who's going to be able to pick up this offense quickly if you want him to contribute early. And that's kind of my thing. I know some people talk about Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams was interesting. His tape was I wasn't that impressed with it. He just was really, 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 really fast. But you can't track the ball. So yeah, he had some dimes that Bryce Young was he was missing. But Michael Gallup, I see some people talking about that. That is maybe some guy that can come in and win and be smart enough. But it's got to be they got to find another slot. And they got to find an outside guy. And like I said, it doesn't have to be superstars. It doesn't have to be superstars. It just has to be some good, serviceable players that can get open and are smart. So, yeah. But that's one thing that I wanted to point out. But anyways,
quick question.
Uh-huh.
Quick question. You didn't get too much into the run game. What kind of blocking schemes are the offensive line going to be basically good to go there, or do you think that they're going to have to reshuffle? What do you think about that?
I think they're going to try to reshuffle it. I think they're going to try to bring some guys in, because one thing that you notice when I was showing that is that Tom Brady was not under pressure that much. Mac Jones, yeah, he was under pressure. That was a long developing route that he had. Because a lot of these routes are long developing. That's so the importance of a good offensive line to this offense is like paramount. So I think that's something they might target, right away. Is not wide receiver, but some linemen. I think they're going to bring in a lot of linemen. They're going to bring in some veterans probably first before they even think about like trying to do anything in the draft. But they're going to do a lot of. Probably some guards, probably some cheap guards, some guys they like that can come in and play right away, because you need a great offensive line. You can't have the offensive line they had last year. There's a lot of, like I'm talking about, there's so many of those steps that take, a long time, man. If some of those routes, you got to wait till the guy makes the read, right? You can't just guess and try to anticipate right away, and try to get rid of the ball. There's always a check down for you, but you don't want to get in that mode where you're checking down and hitting the running back 800 times. So you want to be able to do that and it's important to have a great offensive line is important to this. I will say about the run scheme. I don't know what they're going to do with the run scheme because of the, one interesting thing I saw is they brought in the Browns guy, the tight end coach, for an interview. And I mean, he has no connections to anything. So that tells me they're going to run in wide zone. He's trying to find he's trying to find a guy that can run wide zone, which is right. He's trying to find somebody that can do that because, Patriots are a power scheme. They are. But Josh Jacobs is not a power guy. So that tells me that Josh McDaniels is doing the smart thing. He's going to bring in a run game coordinator or somebody like that. That's why he's looking at the tight end coach from the Browns. They haven't really looked at anybody else I saw for OC. But like anybody connected to the Earnhardt Perkins doesn't run zone. They run power. I mean, even Bill O'Brien down in when he went to Alabama, they're running power. They ran power where he was at. I mean, so
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're bringing in, that's why they brought in the Browns guy. I mean, why else would they bring in some guy who's from Minnesota and went to Cleveland? They're not going to bring in somebody like that's been in the wide zone Kubiak scheme to come be the OC unless they wanted to implement something that they don't want to do, right? I mean, because I'm 100% real. I mean, as a fit, right? As a fit. It's for Josh Jacobs. It's not really a fit in a gap scheme. But if they're bringing in, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If they're bringing in some kind of Browns coach who's come for Stefanski, and that's all they do, he's trying to get some kind of ideas. Trying to get something how he can implement that wide zone scheme. So Jacobs can have a fit, right? Yeah, but so that because they're not gonna run power with Jacobs. So they either if they're going to run power, they got to rid of Jacobs. If they're not, that's why they got the Browns guy coming in and teaching them wide zone. So, I don't know exactly what they're going to do. It's easy to say like, hey, they're just going to run power scheme because they just did it before. But Josh McDaniels is not that stupid. And if he likes Josh Jacobs, who finished the season strong, he's going to give him the best fit there is. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, we can look at what these coordinators have done in the past, what Josh McDaniels has done in the past, what Patrick Graham has done in the past, but you got to tailor your scheme to the players that you have, right? So, yeah, like if Josh McDaniels, if they've just been a power, or a gap scheme run, his entire career, and we see zone all of a sudden because that's what they ran here, like that actually is smart instead of like just either completely revamping your offensive line or forcing them to do things that maybe that's not like their strength or whatever. And Patrick Graham, I know he's going to do the same exact thing. He's not going to try to put square pegs into round holes. When he had Blake Martinez as his inside linebacker, he blitzed him all the time, right? But then when you watch, like, actually, he had to switch his middle linebacker like multiple times. He had like 4 different middle linebackers when I was watching him in 2021. But whatever that guy was good at, he put them in that spot. If that meant they needed to blitz more, he did that, right? So McDaniels, he's going to be the same thing. They're going to put these guys in the spot where they can succeed, and that's the point of coaching. And that's what I'm really excited to see is like the Raiders took a huge step up, and just like schematics, scheme, all that stuff, it took a huge step up. We'll see if the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah.
We'll see if the camaraderie and all that other stuff there. But the X's and O's, like, it's going to be some of the best in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm excited about the X's and O's. And, when I found out that, Carr ran this before, it makes a lot of sense. The verbiage and stuff like that is going to make sense to him. And, the play calls is going to make sense to him. It's going to be, okay, I remember this. I remember that. It's just more about the other guys picking it up and trying to see what they do with the line. Because we don't know how they feel about the players until free agency starts, to be honest. And when they maybe start cutting some guys, who knows how they feel? So I don't know how Kenyon Drake's going to work in this offense because every single run play, every single pass play, you have to block somebody if it's a blitz. There's no like you just run a route, you block somebody first and then run your route. So I don't know how he's going to work in this, or do they bring in James White? What are they? I don't know what exactly are they going to do with that. So, but that's gonna be interesting too, because I don't think Drake's gonna be able to block. But the last time he ran this system, he had like 50 catches. So I don't know. We'll see how it is.
I'm excited. I'm super excited about it. If you watch the tape, don't lie. You've heard us be critical about coaches, about coaching, and it's not going to change our approach. Us trying to be objective and talk to you guys about what we're seeing. But we have lots of reasons, I think, to be optimistic about this upcoming season. Anything else that you want to drop on us, Marcus, before we call it a night here?
No, not really, man. Trying to think. Nothing else that I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, it's just this offense is totally different. Even in the red zone, man, the red zone concepts are awesome. So,
so real quick, they hired Chris Ash as a defensive back coach.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you know the name of the other guy that they hired?
Something Simmons.
Simmons, right?
Yeah.
As a secondary coach. So it sounds like he'll probably be like passing game coordinator, I'm guessing.
Yes.
But and that guy's from Carolina. They ran tons of cover 3 in Jacksonville and tons of cover 3 in Carolina. The Raiders ran tons of cover 3 last year. So like you're saying, like, these hires, I'm not sure what the connection is to Graham, and I know that they're from a slightly different scheme. So those things are interesting. So maybe we'll see. Jason Simmons. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Deacon, Jason Simmons. Appreciate it, bro. That goes back to like what you're saying, like about them interviewing the Browns guy for offensive coordinator. It's like, wait, that guy doesn't run what you run, right? So I think that's awesome to hear. Even the special teams coordinator, I put out a little joke on Twitter about, like the Pat McAfee was talking about, like the really bad trick play that they ran, special. But what you can't take away from that special teams coordinator is that he was scheming. Okay, they're gonna take guys who are scheming. All right, they're not taking guys who are just coaching the fundamentals, like it's like a high school. Like. That's what Gus Bradley really like. He called 4 different plays the entire game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. It wasn't about scheme. It was just about getting guys to do and execute and all that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah.
Raiders coaches, they're going to be scheming this year. They will not just be sitting back and just let you just run vanilla. No, they're going to be scheming like crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited for the game where they don't pass. They just run all over.
Yeah, right.
35 carries. That's what makes
right.
You know what I mean? But just watching them in the red zone, man, like everything's like in the red zone, like there's like levels and there's like somebody, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. I guess I don't like I get why teams run the West Coast a lot because I feel like the West Coast is more mechanical, and if you have like a young quarterback, he can, you know what I mean? Because so Mac Jones might be damn good because he did all right. He did all right first year. So.
He was good. He was good this year, for sure. But, you got to give Josh McDaniels a lot of credit there. Got to give him credit.
Yeah, But, the offense is a little bit on the quarterback, too, so that tells me he's picking it. He's a smart dude, so. All right, I think we're good, BD. We're good.
All right, guys. That's it, Raider Nation. We're out. Make sure you stay tuned to the Tape Don't Lie film channel. Marcus and Matt are going to be bringing you guys tons of draft content. Might not be seeing me for this off season. I might be taking a little hiatus off this, focusing on my actual day job. You know what I'm saying? But Marcus is going to be here. Matt's going to be here. I'll try to check in as much as I can. Raider Nation, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to your favorite Raiders film channel, Tape Don't Lie. That's it. Peace out, guys.
Peace.